welcome back, or welcome for the first time. My name is Eden Isora, and I'm so glad that you have joined me today. As you can see, I am in a new environment, and it's kind of making me feel like as if this is the first time I've ever recorded an ASMR video. Even though this will be technically the 91st video, ASMR video, I did move yesterday, so yay. Just ignore any mess you might see. I have positioned this microphone so as to block some of the mess. And yeah, I don't know, everything is a mess right now just because I literally just moved in yesterday. Which I'm so excited about. So today we are going to be answering some questions, and it's been a little while since we've done a Q&A, so I'm excited for that. And I'm super excited to satisfy your curiosity, hopefully. So we will jump right in. So Katie asked, I'm so curious to hear more about your decision to live in Airbnbs. Thank you for the question, Katie. So I have been living in Airbnbs for the past 6 months. Before that, I lived with family for about 10 months. And then before that, I lived in Airbnbs for like 5-6 months. So I have been switching up my environments a lot. Also, because when I'm staying in Airbnbs, I switch between them, a couple months here, a couple months there. So it's a lot of changes. Now I'm in a place that's more long-term, not an Airbnb, finally. But the reason that I was in Airbnbs for so long was it had a lot to do with the phase that I was in my life. And I don't know, I needed to have that flexibility and that freedom. And with Airbnbs, it's really nice because you can just pick a spot, reserve it for a month or two, and everything is already there. Furniture, everything. And there's, you don't have to worry about knowing if you want to be there for a year or 2 years. It's just very easy. And of course there are a lot of cons, but the pros were definitely there for me. So I don't know. It was kind of a nice thing. And also, I've been on a personal development journey and self-exploration and everything. So for me, having changes in my environment was really nice because it kind of would mark the beginning and end of certain chapters in my life. And each time I
But yeah, it was all about flexibility and freedom.
Gabriel asked, how tall are you?
I am 5'6".
DeMarcus asked, does your next BF have to appreciate ASMR? I'm assuming you mean boyfriend, but maybe you mean best friend, I don't know.
So, yes, they don't have to like it, they don't have to understand it, but appreciate, yes. Sometimes I go on the apps when I'm bored, and one day I was talking to this person, and we were talking about like what we do, and I mentioned that I've been really into making ASMR lately.
And I did not tell them my channel name or anything, but they just searched my first name and ASMR and found it.
And they were like, oh, that's cool, whatever. And I said, yeah, it's really fun and weird, you know? Which maybe I shouldn't have said that, because it kind of opened the door for their opinion. But whatever, maybe I was like trying to like show them that I see that it's weird too, so that way they would know I'm not like completely crazy or something. I don't know, whatever. But then this person says to me,
oh yeah, I just tried to watch your most recent video and it was, I was cringing so hard I couldn't even watch it. A bitch.
like, okay, like you cannot like it or think it's weird, but like to tell me that you can't watch my video because you were cringing too hard that you had to turn it off.
Like, that's a valid response, and I know that a lot of people feel that way about ASMR. But keep in mind, I never told this person to watch my videos. I never sent them my channel name. I literally just mentioned that that's what I've been into. They searched it up. They decided to watch my video. They decided to tell me that they couldn't watch it because they were cringing too much.
So as soon as I saw that message, I was just like, and I just unmatched them because I'm like, that's very disrespectful. Like, it's not that deep. And again, I don't think we should force people to like things that they don't like. You don't have to watch it if you don't want to watch it. But you don't tell somebody that the thing that they spend their time and effort and they're like clearly putting most of their energy into it, like it's the first thing that pops into their mind when you ask like, oh, what do you like to do or whatever. You're gonna tell them that you cringe at it and you can't even watch it. That's how bad it is.
I don't know. It just kind of like, it was like just really weird. I don't know. So yeah, like if I was gonna date somebody, I almost would rather if they did not watch my ASMR, because I wouldn't want to feel like I have to. I mean, I guess ideally if I date somebody, then I should be comfortable with them seeing all sides of me.
I guess I should, like if I'm dating somebody, I should be okay with them watching my videos, but I don't know. Like, they don't have to, you know what I mean? But they have to appreciate the fact that I like it, other people like it, and Yeah, just don't disrespect it. Don't disrespect me, please.
Adriana asked in Portuguese, o que você mais gosta de fazer no tempo livre? I don't know if I said that last word right, but that means, what do you like to do most in your free time?
So, I make money online. So, like, I do my own stuff. So, all of my time is free time, and none of my time at the same time. Like, I have to kind of delegate and figure out what I want to do. So, I do whatever I want 24/7. And I hope that doesn't trigger you, because I know some people have like a belief system where they think that you need to be doing things a certain 9 to 5 career type way. And that's just not how I roll. So, what do I do in my free time? This is what I do. And
I also spend a lot of time outside, sitting on the ground. I spend a lot of time writing in my notebooks. And also, like, in my time, in the time when I really don't want to do anything, I watch Netflix or YouTube. I watch H3 a lot, and lately I've been rewatching The Mindy Project, which is a TV show on Netflix.
And trying to think if there's anything else. I guess sometimes I go to the beach or to random spots. Like what I was thinking when I said spots was like Dollar Tree and Dollar General, which might be silly, but like to me that's like a fun little outing. Yeah, I have been in a homebody phase of this life for the past couple years, but that's not like an always thing for me. I think it will change in the future. So what I like to do will also probably shift and change as I enter into new chapters.
Somebody asked, will you do a try-on haul in the near future?
Yeah, I would love to do a try-on haul actually. I was thinking of doing one a little while ago, but then, I moved and everything, so once I settle in, maybe I will do that.
Little Miss Hattie asked, what's your diet and fitness routine?
Right now, it's a little bit completely thrown off. Yeah, I kind of just watch my macros, not even that closely at all. I'm vegetarian. That's new. I started in like December, January. And fitness, yeah, I like doing Caroline Gervin workouts on YouTube. I do those usually, but this week I haven't really worked out at all because of the move. I've been exhausted.
But yeah, it changes for me. I don't like, yeah. Somebody asked, what made you get into ASMR? Anything else you'd want to try?
Yeah, there's lots of things I'd like to try. I try to take life as it comes, though. I don't want to be jumping into a million different new things at once,
because then I wouldn't really actually do anything. But yeah, I'm sure in my lifetime I will
What made me get into it? Well, I've talked about this before, but I used to have really bad insomnia last year, and like I remember it was really hitting its peak in like November 2022.
And I had like some PTSD stuff going on, and I was not able to sleep, and so I would lay in bed and just like suffer every night. And that's when I was living in Airbnbs alone as well, and like sometimes, you know, the Airbnbs would not feel like the safest environment, which would also trigger my insomnia and other symptoms, whatever. But this lady came up on my For You page on TikTok, and I never like cared about ASMR or watched it.
I guess I might have thought also that it was just weird, or I just wasn't interested, to be honest. I never really thought about it. But of course I knew what it was. And this lady came up, Ella Chi, on TikTok, and she does like Reiki healing, but it's ASMR as well. Like she's doing like hand movements and all that stuff. Which, speaking of that, I haven't really been doing any of that in this video. Oops. But
I found it just so helpful, and like I would literally be laying in bed like crying, like sobbing, watching the videos and just feeling like these crazy energetic releases and love, and like it just was weird. Like I was really, like it was really it felt kind of like an angel, like not to sound weird, but like it was exactly what I needed, honestly. And I would watch her like every night and during the day sometimes too.
and that was one of the very dark chapters in my life. So it kind of was a light in the darkness for me. And then later I started looking on YouTube, and I started watching Josie B ASMR, and she does like personal attention and like all kinds of different like role plays for that. And again, I found it to be so relaxing and just like really nice, especially for somebody who I kind of felt really like disconnected. Even when I was around people, I did not feel any intimacy of any kind, not even in a romantic way, but also just regular like friend intimacy or like human intimacy I did not have, and I still do not have, to be honest. So to have some form of that, some semblance of it, was really nice. So I had mentioned to my friend Ash, I had mentioned something about like maybe I'll try ASMR. I don't know, I think it could be fun. And he bought me this microphone as a gift,
Which is really nice. So thank you, Ash, if you see this.
and that was May of last year when he gave it to me, a year ago. And I did not start this channel until December. So I literally had this microphone, and I even made this channel in May, I think. And I used to go to a hotel to like record other content, and I would bring the microphone and like set it up and look at it and think like I want to record ASMR, but I just never did. And then later I started posting on a different YouTube channel, just regular videos talking about like lessons I've learned and stuff like that. And this one guy, I forget his username, but if I saw it, I would recognize it. Like, I know who commented it, but I don't remember what it is off the top of my head right now. He commented and said, like, something about how my voice was good for ASMR and that I should do it. And that comment kind of just nudged me, and I was like, thank you, I will. I replied back to him, and I think like the next day I set up the microphone and I just recorded an ASMR video. And when I watched it back on my computer, I hated it. Like, I thought it was so bad and embarrassing, but I've put myself out there in every way you can think of on the internet, pretty much. I mean, not every way, to be honest, but like the most extreme ways, which we'll get into later in this video. But I don't know, it just felt very vulnerable, and I felt like I looked super ugly. Like, obviously that sounds really harsh, but like that's how I felt watching the video back. But I was like, fuck it, let me just post it because I spent my time making this, and if not now, when? And so I posted it, and then I don't know why, like, I was not getting any views. I was getting like, I think I got like 30 views on the video, or less, I don't know. But for some reason the next day I decided to go again, and I made another ASMR video and I uploaded it, and I kept doing that every single day. And after like a week, people started watching it a little bit. Still nothing crazy, but it was like it started picking up a little bit more. And then I didn't stop, and for I think 40 or 41 days straight I uploaded every day. And after that I slowed down. Now I do every other day, but yeah, I don't know how, like, I did not plan to do that, but it just kind of naturally developed, and now I love ASMR more than ever. Doing it and watching it, I still watch it a lot. Italio asked, have you ever had any other hair colors, or do you want to change to any in the future? Love you. Love you too. So I did have a lot of different hair colors when I was younger. I have naturally brown hair, as you can see. It looks super dark compared to the blonde, but it's like medium brown. And so yeah, I have brown hair. I had brown hair. I dyed my hair red when I was like 13, like bright red, like this red. Then I dyed my hair black, and I think that's it, just red and black, and then back to brown for a long time. But I don't know, maybe I will in the future, but probably if it was anything, I would just be going back to my natural color. But for now, I'm happy with the blonde, and yeah, I don't know, we'll see. Matt's World ASMR, who is so pretty, and I love her channel. You should check it out. She's here on
ASMR, obviously. She asked, are you open to doing collabs? Also, do you want kids in the future?
So, those are good questions. For collabs, yes, but in person only. Like, I would do a collab with a person, like, in the same room. I don't know. I think that could be fun. We'll see. And about kids, no.
I was kind of nervous to answer this one because I know people get like weird about kids and stuff, but I do not want to have kids of my own.
I love kids, and it would be great if some of my siblings had kids. I could be a great aunt. But yeah, I don't want to have any of my own. I know people are probably going to ask why, and the reason is I just don't have any desire to. That's never been something that I've wanted. People might say like, oh, you'll change your mind when you get older. And that is possible. I have changed my mind about lots of things before. So yeah, who knows? Maybe I will change my mind. But I am 24, and when I was growing up, that was never something that I was like imagining or wanting in any way. And as an adult, like, I have gotten like baby fever. Like, when I like a guy, I'm like, oh, we'd be so cute having a kid. But it's never like actually a serious desire that's like rooted in my own desire for motherhood. I just don't have that. And so I don't believe that it is my role in this lifetime. And I'm happy about that because I don't have the desire. But I do really respect people who do have that desire and do have that experience.
Someone asked, what's your favorite aspect of being an ASMR creator?
So I really like the fact that I can do just a mix of everything. Like, I can do role plays, which, when I was a kid, I used to write plays, and, I was homeschooled. So I used to write plays and have all my brothers and sisters act it out. And of course, I would act in it as well. And I would do that often. It was kind of like one of my favorite things to do.
So this is kind of like a version of that. Like, I can come up with weird scenarios and then act it out, and I don't know, I feel like having the context of ASMR, it's almost like a permission slip for me to feel like I can just do whatever I want, and really there doesn't have to be a rhyme or reason. And so I love that.
And also, I can do videos like this or rambles where I'm just being myself and chatting. So I love that also. They also asked, how do you come up with ideas for your ASMR videos?
So I just let it come to me. I really try not to force it too much because that's when it gets stressful and weird.
Also, people comment things and I read the comments, and I've used those in videos before. So thank you for everybody who gives me ideas. But one of the things that I do is I will sit outside with a notebook and write the date of the day and write the word brainstorm at the top, and then just write down whatever comes into my head no matter how stupid it is. The stupider the better. And then I just write down a bunch of random stuff, even just like words. Or if I'm stressed out that day, sometimes I'll just draw circles over and over again. I don't know.
Random stuff. And, yeah, that's how I get my ideas, you know. Okay, so this next question, I got it from 2 people. I saved this for the end because people can be a little, well, this is a controversial thing, so I get it, but I wanted the mean people to already have gone already by the time I talk about this. So somebody asked, what motivated you to do OF? And someone else had said, what made you want to make an OF account?
So, I do have OF. Only friends, if you want to call it that. And, the reason that I decided to make it was because, I don't know, I think I just got to this point where I realized that what I wanted was to make an account. And the reason that I wasn't making one was not because I didn't want to, but I was afraid of certain people judging me. One being my ex, specifically, and 2 being random people on the internet. Because back when I did not have an OF, I would get random DMs on Instagram. Rarely, but they would be like backhanded compliment, like somebody saying like, oh, I'm so glad you're not like other girls, like you don't have an OF. I love that about you. And I guess I was kind of scared that like people, if they saw that I had one, they would just put me in a certain category in their mind and think that they know everything about me and that they already know like what's going on inside my brain just based on the fact that like I have that account. And I realized that I did have the desire to make it. One reason for that is because I, as a person, have a lot of, let's say, sensual energy that I did not really have an outlet for, or a healthy outlet. And the ways that I was letting it out were in ways that were not beneficial to me. And so I thought it would be cool to channel it into something that directly benefited me and my goals. And so I finally got to a point where, again, I just said, fuck it, like, I'm gonna do it. And
it's most likely not going to be something that I do forever, but I know that if I didn't do it when I had the chance, some part of me would have always been curious about it. And I mean, I don't know about regret, because I don't really like to regret any choices. Just make the best out of it if I can, as long as it's not mean, but you know. But I think I'm happy that I've gotten to have this experience, and it's very unique, you know.
And also, for the record, I had a lot of requests for it for many years on Instagram. I would get comments and DMs constantly. So, you know, it was kind of like the option was fully there, and all I had to do was just cross that mental bridge of like not being afraid what people thought and just do it. And so yeah, I don't know. It kind of felt like the natural next step when I made it last year.
And surprisingly, like, I was still friends with my ex at the time that I made it. We don't talk anymore, but back then we were still friends, and he didn't really like care that much. Once, like, I would tell him like how it was doing and like what I was making and everything, and that's when he was really supportive of it, actually. But when I first told him, like, the first day, he was like, oh no, whatever, but he didn't even care. And like, I realized that people online, like,
If they were gonna be judgmental, they were already judging me anyways, so it kind of just was the same level of judgment, like, as I got before. But now I was getting all of these benefits in my life, and that was one of the ways that I put myself out there in a very vulnerable way, and for me it really helped break down barriers of like having that fear of being perceived. I definitely don't recommend it for everyone. The reason I did it was, one, because there was a lot of demand, and two, because I really did soul searching and went deep in my own mind and soul to make sure that it was the right choice before I did it. I thought about it for 2 years before I did it, and I made peace with all of the consequences. So if you're thinking about making one, just keep that in mind. It's a serious decision. And there are, of course, pros and cons. But
I'm sure you know that. I'm sure you know. So, yeah. But, I hope that clears things up. I have definitely been avoiding talking about OF on here just because I don't know. I like it to be kind of a low-key thing. I don't like to talk about it a lot or like draw unnecessary attention to it. It does fine how it is without like bringing it up all the time, you know what I mean? Rainy Day Gloom asked, what's your favorite TV show?
I don't know if I have a favorite TV show, but like I said earlier, I'm watching The Mindy Project again right now, which is funny because that's what I was watching last year at this time.
So I guess it's like full circle. I'm just rewatching it all from the beginning, and I don't know. It's not the best show, but I like it. It's like light, you know? Yeah, it's like light comedy. Laria asked, would you like to learn other languages, not Portuguese?
So, yeah, I mean, the way that I kind of learned Portuguese was very natural. Just by hearing it around me and having curiosity. So, that's kind of my learning style. So I don't know if I'll get the chance to learn another language like that, but it would be cool.
After I watched the White Lotus show, I wanted to learn Italian. So I had that on Duolingo for like a week, but I don't know.
I stopped with that, so I don't know. Bill asked,
can you tell us about your pets? So I have a dog named Lexi.
Lexi.
She is like sleeping. Oh, now she's not. And she's there with Jill, the reindeer. Lexi is the best dog ever.
And she has a little heart on her forehead. And yeah, she came to me during a really difficult time in my life, right after my marriage ended, and I was at rock bottom, literally. Like, that was the worst that my life has ever gotten, and I've had some pretty bad chapters, but that was the worst, like, feeling wise. On paper, I think I have other chapters that might seem worse on paper, but the way that I felt was the worst, and I felt very alone during that experience, and I did not feel supported at all by any people. So that made it more difficult, but the stars aligned and Lexi was dropped into my life, which also happened very naturally. So I don't know. I guess I am the luckiest girl in the world. So let's continue that trend.